say here, this is one AWS account we have login, right? This user is Manikanta user, but it's an uh, a root account we have login. Okay. But what AWS is suggesting is don't log in as root account. Okay. So for every user in our company, what we need to do is, okay, so we need to create an IAM users. So we need to create the IAM users. Okay. Say AWS recommends not to use root account. Say they'll recommend not to use the don't use the like a root account. They're insisting us to use the IAM users. If we have 100 employees, so I may differentiate these. Maybe some of them may be DevOps engineers, or some of them may be developers, or some of them may be L1 support engineers. Some of them may be database admins. Okay, so then we may have networking team. Maybe that's also part of DevOps or cloud team itself. And we may have even a core management team, and maybe finance or account team also. For all of them also, or we are going to create IAM user details for all, even if those are non-technical guys also. Sometimes in the AWS, we are going to give like access, they're going to maybe check the billing kind of thing, or how much reports we are getting. All these we are going to use it. For that, we are going to use the IAM user. Okay. For first time, we need to log in as, for the first time, we need to log
Root.
in as a root user. But
Root
once we
user.
log in as the root user, what we need to do is we need to create an IAM user. Now that same setting I'm going to do here. So now here I log in as the root user. Then I'll go to IAM. I'll go to IAM. Say in this IAM, I'm going to create the root account I'm going to give. Okay, so now here we need to create the IAM user. Okay, say already root user account is created, but this is our account. In that we are going to create one IAM user. At least for the first IAM user, we can give more permissions. For the like we can give the more permissions we can give. Okay, so then here we are going to create a user. Then I'm going to give my first user, maybe assume I'm going to give here as the name John. Okay, so then provide the user console access also. That means this is the username and password. And instead of this identity center, as of now, create an IAM user. And this console password means it's an auto-generated password, or we can set the custom password also. Okay, so we can set the custom password. So now if you want to see that, say cloud@123. And what is this? User must create a new password and next to sign on, because user for the security purpose, he may assume I know the password, right? That is the reason to avoid that kind of thing. I'm telling user must create a password. Once he log in for the first time, the user need to change that password. Then here, what are the permissions? That means IAM is not only for the authentication purpose, even what are the permissions we have given, these all the options we are going to get. So now here we have the options is add a user to the group, or copy permissions from the existing user, or attach policies directly in the real time. First, we are not going to create the users. We are going to create the groups. Say in this example, we may be all the DevOps engineers may be one group, or developers may be one group, or support engineers may be one group, or maybe project wise, region wise. We are going to create the different groups. Then we are giving the permissions to the groups, then adding the users to those groups. Adding the users to groups. Okay. Otherwise, what is this copy permissions is? Already an user having a permission, and similar kind of permissions I'm going to give to the users. The third one is attach policies directly. So what is this option attach policies directly is? Say here, what are the permissions I have given? So we have the policies. Who given these policies for us is IAM itself or AWS itself has given the policies. More than 1100 policies we have. So in this, we are going to define the policies. And if I give this administrative access means this John user also can do anything. Okay, so for the first user, I'm going to give all the permissions. Just explore all these permissions. Then create a user itself. I have created the user successfully. I have created this and return to user list. So I have already seen that password, or I can reset the password also. Even if I forget that password also, now here you can change the passwords in the security credentials or somewhere. For all these users, we can change the passwords also. And additional to the access key and additional to the username and password, so we are going to get the access key also. So for the programmatic access from CLI or from PowerShell or from third-party tools like Terraform, all those we can create the access keys also. For the users, how to create the access keys also we'll discuss. Then, in order to log into this user, I need to know the three details. Okay, so one is account ID. I need to know account ID. Then that username and the password. So we need to know these all the details. Account ID we need to know, the username we need to know, and the password we need to know. So these all the three details we need to get it. Then what is that account ID we have for each and every account? Around 12-digit number we are going to get it. So this is your 12-digit account ID. Okay, everyone are going to get this account ID. Okay, so then we are going to log into this. I'll open this in a private mode. So incognito mode you can open. I'm going to use the AWS console. Then instead of using the root account, okay, I'm going to log in this time as an IAM user. So now here I'm going to enable IAM user, and here it prompt me for the account ID. The 12-digit account ID enter. John is my username, and the password, what is the password? I kept that password I need to give. So this time it prompt me to reset the password. It's mandatory. I'm going to give any new password. I'm going to confirm that password. Now, as I have given the admin permissions, all those this user also can do. So this user also can do all the users. Okay. So now assume John is going to create one more user. So again, this John can create say we no need to manage anything from the next year, like next jobs, all those use with the IAM users itself. Now here again, I'm going to create one user, maybe James. So console access, either automatic password or custom password. And I'm setting user must change the password. Then this time for this user, I'm going to attach the policies. Okay. So what I want to do is, I don't want to give the complete administrative access. I don't want to give the complete administrative access. So what I want to give is, I want to give only the in EC2. Again, in the EC2, we have different permissions. So in the EC2 also, I want to give read-only access. That means this user can't provision the resources. What he can see, if already resources are there, he can see only those resources itself. So now the James is the user, John having all the permissions, but for this user I have given the limited permissions. What are the permissions I am giving?
Read only.
Only in the, that is also for the service EC2 only. Okay, EC2 only read only permissions I have given. Okay, so then I'll go to this user. I'll log in again. I'll open in a private mode. I'll open the console. Sign into the console. Here also we need to enter that username. It's already login as this account ID we need to know. This is the 12 digit. For every account we'll have an account ID. Then that account ID, and I'm going to enter the username as James and that password. Then again I need to reset the password. So now here to go to IAM itself, I don't have the permission. Now I'll go to EC2 service. If I go to this EC2 service, if any instances are there, at least I can get it. But if I want to launch an instance, I don't get the permission. So I don't get the permission. Even to create a new key pair also, I don't get the permission because that is also I didn't give them. So here itself, you are not authorized to perform this operation. Okay, even when we launch, I'll use the existing one. I don't have anything here. If you have any existing like key pairs I have, if I choose it and even if I click on the launch also, it won't select. But if I log in as a John, so we can log in as another user also. Okay, if you want to switch between the roles also, you can do. Okay, but for the James user, we don't have the permissions. Okay, so now here in normal session, I have login as a root user, right? Even we can create the groups also here. Say these all now not recommended to do in the real time with the user money. Okay, so where all these administrative events can be recorded, where all those administrative events can be recorded is cloud trial. 1 second. Yeah. So here, why we'll go for groups is, if you have 100 users, instead of defining the permissions to all those to the 100 users, first better to create a group itself. Then here I'm going to create one group. Maybe I'll create a group as database admins. So better to give the database admin I'm going to give. Then here I'm going to add the users also if you have. Otherwise later also we can add the users to those. And permissions, like the policies are nothing but the permissions. Now here I'm going to create which are RDS related itself. That means for my database we have the RDS related, and for these guys I can give the maybe RDS full access I'm going to give here. Some data is different, and here in this also what are the permissions we are going to get, here we can see with the data and all these. Then even for this we have one more service is there, maybe elastic cache. For that also I want to give the full access, and there is one more database related DynamoDB. So what I'm going to give is, I have given the three policies for this database user. And later, now I'm going to create one more user. Say here we may have John or James something. Then here I'm going to create, say here we got those two users. Okay, so now I have one more user, maybe Bob is my third user. For the Bob, I want to add directly. So here, as of now, choose the and set the password. And this, if you want to download, you can download even into a CSV kind of file also. Now here directly I'm adding the user to the group itself. And what is the group is, as of now here we have database admin. You may already create a developer kind of group, or maybe that developer permissions I'll give to developer user, admin team, like this we are going to define. Then I'm going to create the user. That user automatically will get what is the RDS we have given the permissions, like RDS, DynamoDB, all the DBA kind of roles we are going to get it. Are you able to understand in which scenario will go for users? If you have more users are there, better to go for the groups, add the permissions to the groups, then add the users to
Groups.
the groups. That is one of the enterprise solution. Directly attaching the policies directly to the users is not recommended, or copy the permissions from the another user also is not recommended. Group is an enterprise solution. Group is an enterprise solution. And even to this corresponding user we can send, and even we can download dot excel like a CSV format, we can get it. And try to reset the user, and to which of the users, like we have given the more permission, like admin user is there, John or James. And for easy to read only permission user, not an issue, but I have given the RDS also, very very important. For these users we need to enable MFA also. What is the meaning of MFA? So here try to enable MFA also. What is the meaning of MFA is multi-factor
Multi-font.
multi-factor authentication. That is one of the assignment I'm going to give. And policies, most of the policies has been given by AWS itself. Around 1100 plus policies has been given, but even we can create the policy also. So try to create the policy with your custom permissions and all those. By default we are getting the managed policies which have been given by AWS itself, but we can create our own policies also. We can create our own policies also, we can create. Okay, so try to create the policies. And what is these roles? So what is the meaning of roles is, say, not to the users we are giving, say to the users means like those may be the humans or persons we are going to give the permissions, but to another AWS service or resource, we need permissions. One example I'll tell, say suppose you have installing one app, maybe like maybe you are installing Insta, you are installing Phone Pay, then you may need to give the permissions to that app also, right? Your Instagram may access your contacts, or it may access your camera, it may access your gallery, say it may access your messages. Like this, are we giving the permissions or not? We're not giving the permissions to the users. Okay, so now here already we created the users or groups, and like this we can give. But here we are going to give the roles on absence of us. Even one service want to access one more service access role. So for that purpose, what we need to do? We need to create the roles. So try to create different roles. Once we create the roles, these we are going to use practically in the next classes, like for the EKAs or for RDAs, for CloudWatch. For all those, we need to give the permissions. By giving the roles, we are going to manage those. Okay, so from the IAM wise, try to create the roles also. So that is one of the assignment. And to whom we are going to assign the roles? To the services. That means for EC2 if we want access, for EC2 we need to give the roles, or for VPC flow logs, or for CloudWatch, for EKS clusters. Whenever we are going to discuss the next topics, before that we need to go for that we need to go for roles we need to go. Okay. Any doubts on this? Any doubts?
No, sir.
And try to enable multi-factor authentication also. Okay. Then on the Linux instance, what are the things you have done? Once you connect to the Linux, and are you able to connect to Windows and Windows instance also? So try to connect to both Linux and Windows instance. Then install Nginx and Apache, deploy website, run minimum 40 to 100 commands we need to run on the Linux machine. Okay, then install Tomcat, Jenkins, then install LAMP also. Okay, so these all the things we need to install. So among these, like, what are the things you have done, Monica?
Linux only I did, Shrikant.
Which one?
Linux.
No. Windows are you able to connect? For
No,
Windows
I guess I didn't. I did not try it.
through RDP also try to connect to that instance. And
Okay.
Nginx and Apache?
No, I just went through the videos, but practice sessions I
Practically try
remember.
to, because if we go to the
I'll try.
next scenarios, we can't understand.
Okay.
Okay. So what about
Yeah.
you, Manikanta?
Sir, I'm just going through the previous videos. So,
Yeah, try to
I'm
install.
sure, sir, sure, sure. I'm completing one on one. So,
Okay,
I
so
will
try
return.
to install all this.
Sure, sir.
Okay, sure.